Understanding tariffs, a guide to their history, impact, and effects on small businesses. Welcome to the video on tariffs. In this video, we'll be exploring the history of tariffs, what they are, and how they impact businesses. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, or simply interested in understanding the complex world of international trade, this video is for you. The first section is on the history of tariffs. Tariffs have been around for centuries, with the first recorded tariff dating back to ancient Greece. However, it wasn't until the 18th and 19th centuries that tariffs became a major tool for governments to raise revenue and protect domestic industries. In the United States, the Tariff Act of 1789 was the first federal law to impose tariffs on imported goods. Since then, tariffs have played a significant role in shaping the country's trade policy. What are tariffs?
A tariff is a tax on imported goods. Imported goods are products being brought into the country from another country. For example, coffee being imported into the UK from Costa Rica, whereas exported goods would be the UK selling items such as machinery overseas to another country. A tariff is very clearly a barrier to trade, as it effectively places a tax on these goods and services coming into the country from another. This makes these foreign goods coming from other countries more expensive than the ones made and sold domestically in this country. By making these products more expensive, this is a barrier to international trade, as it makes goods from abroad more expensive and less competitive than products that are sold in this country.
So what exactly are tariffs? Simply put, a tariff is a tax imposed on imported goods or services. Tariffs can be levied on a wide range of products, from raw materials to finished goods.
Let's take a look at a very simplified example. Let's say the cost of a car made and sold in the UK is £20,000. Let's also say you can purchase an imported car from Japan for £18,000, saving you £2,000. However, the UK government decides to place an import tax of 25% on Japanese cars. This would now make the £18,000 car cost £22,500, meaning that it would now be more expensive than the UK car. This example in theory would mean demand would drop for the Japanese cars and in turn put a barrier in the way of international trade, as demand for imports would drop. Tariffs are also used to promote and protect businesses in their own country and make the option of importing more expensive.
There are several types of tariffs, including ad valorem tariffs, which are based on the value of the imported goods; specific tariffs, which are based on the quantity of weight or the quality of the imported goods; compound tariffs, which combine ad valorem and specific tariffs. How do tariffs work? Now that we've covered what tariffs are, let's take a closer look at how they work. When a country imposes a tariff on imported goods, it can have several effects on the market. Firstly, tariffs can increase the cost of imported goods, making them more expensive for consumers. This can lead to a decrease in demand for imported goods, which can benefit domestic industries. However, tariffs can also have negative effects, such as increasing the cost of living for consumers, reducing competition and innovation in the market, and leading to retaliatory tariffs from other countries, which is what we're seeing now.
Tariffs do have their advantages and disadvantages, and although it can limit international trade, there are reasons governments use tariffs. One of the most obvious advantages is that it means domestic products can compete with foreign alternatives, where production costs and labour is usually cheaper. A tariff makes the goods equal to or cheaper than international competitors. An obvious benefit for the government is that it increases their revenues as tariffs are paid directly to the government. An argument often touted by politicians who advocate tariffs is that it protects jobs, especially in manufacturing, where tariffs discourage companies moving manufacturing overseas and in turn saving jobs. However, there are downsides to tariffs. Ultimately, tariffs make goods more expensive for the end consumer. We buy products affected by tariffs every day. Food, clothes, cars and electronics usually all have tariffs placed on them. Another disadvantage is tariffs are rarely one-sided, and if one country imposes a tariff on another country, then they often retaliate by putting tariffs on their goods.
Mexico's leadership just made a colossal mistake. Both are now launching tariff wars against the USA. Both countries are slapping new tariffs on US goods, but here's why that's a massive mistake. The US market alone is 10 times bigger than Canada's entire economy and 7 times larger than Mexico's. When you're that dependent on a single customer, you don't pick fights. Last time Canada tried tariffs in 2018, their economy took a $3 billion hit. Mexico's auto industry nearly collapsed during their last trade dispute. Here's the brutal reality. 75% of Canadian exports and 80% of Mexican exports go straight to the US. Meanwhile, only 18% of US exports go to these two countries combined. The math is simple. When you rely on someone for survival, you negotiate. You don't declare war.
Section 4. The impact on small businesses. So how do tariffs affect small businesses? Well, the impact can be significant. Small businesses often rely on imported goods or materials to produce their products. When tariffs are imposed, these businesses can face increased costs, reduced profit margins, and decreased competitiveness. Furthermore, small businesses may not have the resources to absorb the increased costs of tariffs. This can lead to reduced investments, layoffs, and even business closures. Tariffs are a complex and multifaceted issue that can have far-reaching effects on businesses, including small ones. While tariffs can provide protection for domestic industries, they can also lead to increased costs, reduced competition, and negative impacts on small businesses. I hope this video has provided you with a better understanding of tariffs, both the pros and cons, and the effects on small businesses. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. Have a good day, guys.